About a week ago, I made a video discussing whether Spider-Man Brand New Day might have a villain problem. I have now seen the film and I can definitely clarify whether I was right or wrong. Here are my thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day. Oh my god, Spider-Man Brand New Day is easily the best live-action Spider-Man movie that has ever been released, and I do not say that lightly. All right, guys, let's talk about Spider-Man Brand New Day. I just watched it last night, and man, what a ride. I've got to say, DDC cooked with this one. Absolutely cooked. This guy is 3 for 3 at the moment. He smashed Shang-Chi, he smashed Wonder Man, and now he's absolutely smashed Brand New Day. This guy is got to be one of Marvel Studios' all-star directors right now. Don't expect him to go anywhere. I think he's going to be one of those Marvel Studios go-tos. Just like Jake Schreier from the Thunderbolts going into X-Men, I would say hoping DDC's next project will be Shang-Chi 2. And great, if that works out well, I would love to see him do another Spider-Man film because this guy is fantastic. So for this part of the video, we're going completely spoiler-free. I'm just going to tell you what I felt about the film in very broad strokes. And then when we put spoilers up on the screen, that's where we're going to be getting into more of the nitty-gritty, going into some of the things that might ruin the plot for you. And you can tune out at that point and come back later if you wish. So like I've already said, is Spider-Man Brand New Day great? Yes, it is great. It is a fantastic film, and I highly recommend any Spider-Man fan, any MCU fan, any comic book fan, any movie film fan in general, go out and see this movie. It's an entertaining ride from start to finish. Is it a bit long? Yeah, it's a long film. Personally, I like long films. I don't have a problem with that, especially when the pace is going well. There's something happening, entertaining all the time, which is definitely the case in Spider-Man Brand New Day. This is by far and away also the most mature of the Tom Holland films. We're seeing a Peter in this film that has evolved from the things that he's been through in the past 3 films. He's still going through the grief and the trauma from No Way Home, and you can see how that plays out in this film. And the choices that he made at the end of No Way Home very much impact the tone and what unfolds in this story. The film is also very grounded. There's not any at all, as far as I can remember, references to multiverse or anything like that. There's one tiny throwaway line that goes back to some multiverse stuff from No Way Home, but that's it. This is very grounded. This is very much a Spider-Man tale in New York. But in saying that, we do get quite a few guest characters popping in and out of this film. Obviously, you would have seen from the trailers, we have Jon Bernthal as the Punisher, and he is fantastic in this film. We also have Mark Ruffalo popping up as Bruce Banner and the Hulk. I won't go too much into that now, but just so you know, it's fantastic. It's not overdone, and it's not done in a way that takes anything away from the Hulk character, which I think a lot of people have been worried about with the way Hulk has been treated in previous films. And we also do get another character that shows up, which I won't spoil in this part of my review. Another thing that I'll say before we get into spoilers is that going into this movie, the marketing, the trailers, they really didn't give an accurate overview of what happens in the film. Or what I should say by that is they led me to believe the film was going to be quite different to what it is, but in a good way. After the first few minutes of the film, I was like, hey, I actually have no idea what's going on here. And that's a fantastic thing. That means they did a really good job with the trailers, not spoiling everything. Yes, we've seen a lot of the action sequences and film points like that and some of the characters that are going to show up, but otherwise the actual plot and what was happening throughout the story hasn't been spoiled in the trailers, which I thought was fantastic. So the whole ride, I was like, oh, this is surprising to me. So fantastic job by Sony/Marvel Studios with that one. The visuals in this film are fantastic. The swinging in this film are fantastic. The sense of what Spider-Man goes through as he's traveling through the city. I have to say that these guys owe a whole bunch to Insomniac, because you can see the inspiration that DDC and probably Tom Holland has taken from those games. It's very much evident in the way some of these fight scenes are choreographed and the way we see Peter swing through the city. It's fantastic stuff, exhilarating. It's the best swinging we've ever seen in live action. And I know that was kind of a criticism of the John Watts films, that the swinging parts. well, put your worries aside because they do a fantastic job capturing Peter's momentum as he hurdles through the city. It's fantastic stuff. This is also easily Tom's best performance as Peter Parker Spider-Man. He is fantastic in this role. You can really see he's bringing that maturity to the character. And what was interesting is there's a few flashbacks to not even that long ago, which is No Way Home, and you can actually see how much he's grown up in the past 5 years. You look at those scenes from No Way Home, and even though that was a Spider-Man, third outing, he almost looks like a kid compared to who he is now. Tom has also bulked up quite a bit for this role. He's much bigger, stronger looking Spider-Man, and it helps him portray this more seasoned adult version of the character that we've been following over the past almost 10 years. The supporting cast are fantastic as well. Zendaya, of course, always a standout, whatever she's in. And then, of course, Sadie Sink and her mystery character. She's fantastic. I've heard behind the scenes that they're kind of positioning Sadie Sink as kind of one of these anchor characters for the upcoming phases and sagas. And I can understand now after seeing her performance in this role. She's great. And it'll be interesting to see where she goes from here. And with that, I think we should end the non-spoiler part of this video. The spoiler tag is going to be up on for the rest of the video. So guys, if you haven't seen the film, you may want to check out at this time and maybe come back later if you'd like. But now we're going to get into some of the things that will go into some of the plot. So spoilers in 3, 2, 1. So yeah, talking about Sadie Sink, having her finally being revealed as Jean Grey, which had been rumored for a long time online. It's kind of one of these double-edged swords of getting all this information from behind the scenes stuff where you want to be surprised about things in films, but then you want to know what's going on, and then you get certain plot points kind of spoiled for you. Hey, did it affect my enjoyment of the film? Not really, but I kind of wish it was like out of the blue, but it's cool. Sadie Sink is Jean Grey. She's going to be Jean Grey going forward in the MCU, and they're obviously using her as a setup for the upcoming X-Men film from Jake Schreier. Like I said, she does a fantastic job. It's obvious that they are going very young for this upcoming X-Men team, so it should be interesting to see the other characters who they eventually cast. I'm imagining we might see something at D23 now that Brand New Day is out and the Jean Grey thing is out there. They can start talking about the X-Men film and cast. So we'll see. But yeah, she's another great grab for the MCU moving forward. Talking about great grabs or great casting choices for the MCU, that character that I was alluding to before in the non-spoiler part is, of course, Florence Pugh, who shows up as Yelena Belova in this film. And man, I love Florence Pugh. I love her as Yelena. She's so good. Put her in everything, I think. Make her like the Nick Fury or the Wong or whatever. Get her to pop up in everything because she's so entertaining whenever she's in anything. She's great. And I love how in this film they actually refer to her as Black Widow. So she's taken on that mantle now and everything that goes along with that as a member of the New Avengers. She's not just Yelena, she's Black Widow. And I think that's really cool and fitting for her moving forward. It's also a good thing that she just plays a very small guest spot. She doesn't overshadow the film. She's not in any action sequences. And the same goes for all the other side characters that end up showing up, like the Punisher, like the Hulk. They play important parts in the film, but they don't overshadow it. It's not an Iron Man situation. The Punisher, yes, helps Peter out in the film, but it's not to a point where he's helping Peter and Peter can't do it without him, if that makes sense. I absolutely loved, though, the Punisher and Spider-Man's interactions in the film. It's so funny. The Punisher doesn't lose his essence of who he is. He doesn't become super kid-friendly. He's still swearing to a degree, right? He's still rough and ready to kill, right? But around Peter, he kind of tones himself down. I feel like he can't help but almost smile while he's around Peter. He's just that kind of character. He has that kind of influence on people. Now, I want to get into kind of what I referenced in one of my previous videos, talking about, are there too many villains in this film? And that was my question going into this film. And really, the answer is no. There's very much one central character with some other villains kind of popping up here and there, but they're kind of just in service of this main character, which is one of the theories that I kind of put forward in that video. This is not a Spider-Man 3 situation where you have the film trying to balance a plot from Sandman, a plot from Venom, a plot from New Goblin. It's not that at all. It's much more a central villain who's sending other obstacles in Peter's way. Definitely the better path for them to have taken. It's interesting because the promotion for this film, the trailers, they show all these snapshots of some of these villains that I was speaking about in that previous video, like your Boomerang, your Tarantula. They probably have just 10 to 20 seconds of actual time in the film. If anything, it reminds me of the start of Fantastic Four First Steps, where you see that kind of montage of the Fantastic Four fighting some of their foes from the comics. It's very much the same situation where we just get montages of Peter fighting these different villains over the past 5 years, what he's really been up to, which I think may be disappointing for some people if they wanted to see him kind of interact with them more. I actually thought Tombstone would have had a bigger role, but he's barely in the film at all. I don't have a problem with it. I think this was actually the better choice in service of the whole film. But I know for some people, they might have been like, oh, I really want to see more Scorpion, or I want to see Tarantula, you know, that kind of thing. And yeah, it's just not the case in this film. It's very much about the central character or central villain and how they try to stop Peter from getting in their way. So yeah, we can definitely say that my initial theory about there being too many villains has definitely been debunked. There is not too many villains. It's a very focused film, and I think they did a really good job with that. If we're going to get into some of the critiques I have for this film, where, I mean, there isn't too many, but I do have a few. The first being us circling back again to Sadie Sink, Jean Grey. The whole Jean Grey as a villain or bad guy, antagonist of these films. We've just been here so many times. We've done this so many times. And yes, they do this in a new way. Yes, it's exciting and I enjoyed it. But come on, like, how many times are we going to do Jean Grey as the villain in these films? Hopefully, this is the one and done. I really, 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 really hope we don't go straight into some Dark Phoenix stuff going into the X-Men films. That will be just annoying because I'm tired of seeing it. I think a lot of people are tired of seeing it. I think they get away with it here because of the way it's done. But please, let's just move away from that. There's other things that they can do in that X-Men universe, I'm sure. Another small criticism that I have is the revelation that the hand that we see so prominently in those trailers are actually working for the Department of Damage Control, which I thought was odd. It's not something that I expected. Maybe that's my own preconceptions of what this film was going to be going into it, but I found that odd, and it not tying at all, like 0% tying into any Daredevil stuff. Again, an odd choice. I was convinced you could not have told me any different that Charlie Cox was going to be in this film, and he's not, unfortunately. That's just the reality of the situation, whether that's a Marvel Studios thing. Maybe they couldn't make it work. Maybe they thought it would be just too much for one film. It's unfortunate, especially when you're involving the hand, but hey, it can still happen. Kevin Feige's been talking about recently that the Kingpin situation is not as complex as we've been made to believe. And who knows, maybe that is a signal that we might see more crossovers from the Daredevil side of things into films. I really hope so, because it's really sad that Charlie hasn't had an opportunity to appear in any of these bigger films, any Avenger films. I mean, he had that very, very small cameo in Spider-Man No Way Home, but yeah, I'd love to see him and Tom on screen together, especially since we've just had Tom Holland and Jon Bernthal do such a fantastic job together. And again, one more tiny nitpick, and I'm really nitpicking here, is the whole film is kind of built around Tom's or Peter's isolation and how that's leading to symptoms of his arachnid DNA kind of taking over. And the way that that's worked out in the end is basically Peter accepting that he is both Peter Parker and Spider-Man, which is a little cliche, but it's such a cool scene when that does happen that I'm going to let it go. I can imagine some other reviewers might tear that apart, that type of thing. But It's such a cool scene, and the whole film is done so well that you can get over those small little things. It has so much heart, so much emotion. It's just so well done that little story nitpicks, little cliche things like that, you can kind of just brush over them nicely, I think. And also, this isn't a criticism, but I did want to just say, I've seen people, some of the scoopers online, on Twitter, blah, 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 say, oh, don't bother sticking around for the end scene. It's not that important. I disagree. I think it definitely does do some legwork for setting up what's going on. Do I wish they had more end scenes? Do I wish it was fleshed out a little bit more? Definitely, but I think it's worth seeing. And I mean, if you're a Marvel true believer like myself, you're going to stick around to those end credits anyway. But yeah, guys, that is my thoughts on Spider-Man Brand New Day. The questions I had going into this film, I think, have very much been answered. Did the film have too many villains? No, it was nicely done, nicely focused. It's based around one character's motives. Yeah, I do believe this is easily the best live action Spider-Man film. I've seen other people say online that there is no doubt that Tom Holland is now the greatest live action Spider-Man. And I've thought that for a while, and this just cements that fact. He's far and away surpassed the great Tobey Maguire, the great Andrew Garfield. They had their time, they did a great job, but looking at his body of work, and especially this film at this point, there's no way that you can sit there with a straight face and say that Tom Holland isn't the best embodiment of this character that we have had up until this point. But yeah, guys, Spider-Man Brand New Day, if you've seen it, let me know. What did you think of it down in the comments? Did you love it as much as I did? Did you have any criticisms? Let me know. And if you haven't seen it and you still watched this video all the way to the end, what is wrong with you, you psychopath? Get to the cinemas right now and go and watch this fantastic film. But anyway, guys, those are my thoughts. And until next time, this has been LFG's. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.
W's in the shot.